customers, pretty self-explanatory. And then from there, we've got the credit repair tab. And there's a couple different ways they can get onto this page. One is you already have talked to them and you know that they need to repair their credit. Or two, the reason for denial in Encompass is credit history. Encompass can go ahead and push that information over to Surefire so that you've already got it updated in here. And typically the goal of this tab is to put them on some type of credit repair workflow. And then the final option you've got is your search contacts. This is where you search your contacts. So from here we can see how Surefire is focusing our data for us. And this is incredibly important because when you're looking at a spreadsheet or you're looking at a giant list of contacts, you can get a little bit of analysis paralysis and not know where to start or what to focus on. So that's what Surefire is doing for you. Now, that knocks out number one, focusing your data. Let's look at number two, automating your communication. So if you want to pull up the lead process. Now this looks very, very large, but we'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. And this is the workflow, this is the basic workflow that we've lined out for leads. So as you can see, only one of two ways you can get a lead in the system. You can either add them manually, or you can have them entered automatically through something like your Facebook leads, your Zillow leads. Those are hooked up through an API with Surefire, and they come directly into the system. So the most important part here to focus on is they come into the system as a new lead. Regardless of whether it's manual or electronically entered, they're a new lead. And they're going to go into contact type new lead, and we're going to have some deployments here on the side. So these are the actions that are happening. We're telling Surefire, hey, if it's a new lead, I want to do 4 things right out the gate. I want to send a text notification to the LO. I want to send a text to the lead. I want to send an email to the lead. And I want to send an email to the referring source if one's available. And you can see we've got some examples here of some basic templates. So this one right here is our confirmation to the referral source. Hey, I got your lead and I'm working on it. I'm giving them a call. You don't have to do anything. The other example that we have, you want to look at the other email one? This goes out to the lead. Hey, this is Briana. I want to talk to you and give me a call. And then right here we've got 2 different text messages. The one on the left is the one that goes to the lead. It's just another introduction. And the one on the right is the one that you as an LO get. And the importance of this is if you're not at your desk in Surefire checking up on your hot leads, you need to know as soon as you get a lead in the system. So this is going to send you a text that says, hey, you have a new lead, and here's their phone number. So if you're not at your desk and can't try and contact them from here, just click on the number and call them directly from your cell. It's just an instant way to reach out to them. And as we all know, whenever you're working with internet leads, you're running against the clock because there's other people that they could be working with or that might be getting that lead information. So you're trying to race to get in touch with them. Did you have a question?
That workflow is already set up in Surefire?
That's something that we've set up. These are all things that you can work with Surefire to customize for you. The reason we don't have this for everybody is because it's customized to your branch. So you can build these workflows out very easily in your business rules. Just say, hey, and once you set it up once, and that's it forever. So it just takes a couple minutes, but all of this content, I believe, is already in Surefire. Do you have a question as well?
I do. I can hold it to the end.
Okay, that's fine. So from here you can see now we've learned how to focus our data, and now we can automate our communication. And as you scroll on, so we've got contact type, new lead. These other options is how you're dispositioning that lead. So new lead, well, let's say when you've contacted them once, you've had a contact attempt once, we can go ahead and send them a sorry I missed you email, send them another text, send them a referral update. You can customize this however you need to, but this is really helping carry the burden of contacting people and giving them updates. Even if you're spending 1 minute on an email for every one of your leads, you could be spending hours sending emails. Let Surefire pick that up for you. They can send the information to the customer so that you can focus on doing what no system can do, which is calling your lead and building a relationship. There's no template for a personality. So from here, this is the typical structure we have, which is just 4 contacts. If I've called you 4 times and sent you all of this content, I'm borderline harassing you. So now it's time to throw you more on a nurture workflow, which can be a long-term follow-up process. You'll see that one over here on the far right. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom and to the left, you'll see that we have a few other options. So like we talked about the credit repair, you can throw them on that workflow. If they're dead, you can send them an email saying, okay, I'll stop calling. And then you can also do pre-qual not complete or ask them for some more information. Now if you scroll to the right, you have the webhook available to you in Surefire that if you select the option for push to Encompass, it can take all that information from your lead and push it directly to Encompass on your prospects. That's very, very helpful because you're not, again, it's all about time saving. You don't have to rekey a bunch of information into Encompass. It's already there in Surefire, so just push it over. And then from there, typically you're getting all of your updates through the Encompass milestones. So that's kind of the circle of life from lead to client. Now this looks great, but it's not going to do anything if it's not easy. So if you want to go ahead and go back to Surefire. You should, yeah, there we go. All right, so let's show what dispositioning is. So we'll go back over to our hot leads. And I am going to look at Pam. So we've got Pam, she's a brand new lead. She came in from a company website. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a call. Well, let's say I call her and have to leave a message. So this is how you can disposition the lead through the workflow we just reviewed. So you go over to lead status. We're going to change it to attempt 1. I've attempted to contact her once. Save. And I'm going to add a note because the lead status isn't enough. You need to add some more information and just say I left a message. Go ahead and add your note and you'll actually see this lead disappear. Don't panic. That's supposed to happen because now that's no longer a hot lead. It's a warm lead. So Surefire is taking this off of your plate for you and pushing it over to the next tab so that you can keep focusing on your hot leads and not have a bunch of clutter in your way. As you can see right there, she's been moved over to the warm lead tab. So this is the best way to disposition your leads through these tabs and have it organize your data for you. So we've got automated communication. And we've already also knocked out our realtor updates because we're sending those emails constantly to them, as you can see in the workflow. So say we want to communicate with them a little organically, but through SMS instead of a phone call. Because I'll be the millennial in the room, don't call me, text me. So we'll go ahead, we're going to use Maggie as our dummy here. We'll go ahead and go into her profile. Say I haven't talked to her in a while, I just want to do a little update. So you can go into your SMS archive. Right here you can already see that she got that initial text message that was part of my workflow, so that's great. But I want to go ahead and chat with her some more. So I want to see if she'll come meet with me. So you can go ahead and select the chat button. Typically you only have 2 numbers, I have a bunch, but typically you only have 2. My favorite reminder for which number to use in the chat is the one that is not your cell phone. You need to be using the Surefire phone number to chat with the lead, so that you can maintain that information in the system. So once you select that, we'll go ahead and send her a text. She's going to get that text instantly. And hopefully text us back. And then the other great thing about chat is no matter where you are in Surefire, as soon as somebody texts you back, it will pop up. So I don't need to be in this lead for this message to pop up as soon as she replies. I can be anywhere, and it's going to pop up like a chat box. I'll also get a notification through the bell at the top right of the screen. And then, if you'd like, you can also set up to get a notification on your phone, which is what I recommend, because a lot of times people aren't in Surefire. So I have our team is set up that whenever they text us, sends a notification to my cell phone saying, hey, you got a text message from this customer. Get in touch with them. So we got the update there. And then as you can see, under the SMS archive, if you refresh, yeah. You may have to refresh the actual chat. Like if you go next to where it says chat, or that's fine, or refresh the whole thing. Perfect. So from here, I can go ahead and respond to her and set a time and date. And then as soon as I set that time frame, what's great is because I'm already in this page, I can go ahead and set a task for myself. So if you go to the task on their profile, it's the second tab over, I can go ahead and create a task, phone call, or call Pam, put in any details if any are necessary, set our date, contacts already added, and add. Now, you're not going to see the task show up directly. That's okay. That's because this is only showing you anything that is due today or before. We just set this for the future. And so what we could do is if you want to go to the date range and do all time, there we go. Now we can see the task that's in the future for this lead. So this is the best way to be able to communicate with them easily using SMS and set follow-ups for yourself. You're really setting your own schedule to follow up with all of these leads, and that's the goal. So once we go back to hot leads, now you can see that Pam's moved on. We've got Maggie down here. I'll actually go ahead and change her lead status to warm, which would be initial contact. Because I didn't get her on the phone, but I did talk to her. She's been responding to me. So this has been my initial contact. Now, typically your workflow is only going to send automated content whenever it's a contact attempt or something along those lines. It's because if you've got them on the phone, Surefire doesn't know what happened. And there's really no way to create a template around your conversation. So anytime you have an initial contact, we just recommend setting them to warm and following up with them at a later point. So from here, where are we at on time? Yeah, we'll be good. So the second biggest question I get whenever training people on Surefire is how do I track my referral partners and how do I keep them updated? Well, that may have been me. I'll put that down. So obviously we're already sending them email updates every time there's a change in the lead, or at least whenever there's a contact attempt in the lead. But there's another way that we found that's pretty useful. So if you go to the contacts and referral tracker, you've got two different options there. You've got top transaction partners, which is showing you, and I don't think I have any, but which would show you who's bringing you the most volume and who's bringing you the most deals. And then you have top refers. This is showing who's bringing the most leads. This is a great tracking system for comparing the ratio between leads and deals. If you have somebody giving you 200 leads, but you're only getting 3 deals out of it, they're not as great as somebody who's giving you 15 leads, but you're getting 7 deals out of it. So it's a great way to compare the two. Now, from here, once you click on their name, you can actually see all of the leads they have referred to us. So as we can see here, we've got Amy. In a quick snapshot, I can see, great. She's referred 3 leads to me, 2 of them I'm in contact with, and 1 of them is in a credit repair. That gives me a great snapshot of what's going on with her leads. Well, let's say I want to give it to her. I could easily copy this, put it in an email, send her an update, and now not only has she gotten an update every step along the way of our contact process, but she can also get a snapshot view of everything in one bundle. So seeing all of her leads at once. And you could do this once a week, once a month, and send it over to them. Keeps them from having to call you for an update, which is really what your realtors want. They don't want to have to talk to you about their leads. They want you to take it from there and trust that you can manage it and communicate and not drop the ball. So once you close out of there, so now we've got our data focused, we've got our communication automated, our referral sources are updated, and obviously we can always go into our deployment center to see how our workflows are doing. So we can see our success, failures, see how those emails are performing through the reports. There's a lot of different ways to see how your workflow is working for you. And I recommend, you can start with a basic process, but I do recommend evaluating your own needs before building out a workflow, like we discussed. You definitely want to make sure that maybe you're more of maybe you're a slow mover and you only want to touch base with them once a week, twice a week, or maybe you don't want to send them an email and a text. You just want to send them an email, or you just want to send them a text message. Maybe you don't want to send a referral update every single time. You're more than welcome to customize that out. That's what's great about Surefire, is they do give you so many options through the business rules of how to customize this to fit your needs. So it's not a one and done situation, it's whatever works best for you. So I'll stop there. Do we have any more questions? Go ahead.
Task reminders, is there any integration for your Outlook calendar with that or no?
That's actually a David question. Did you hear that?
I did.
He asked for task reminders. Is there any way to integrate that with your Outlook calendar?
Yes, if you use Outlook 365, the web-based version, that you can sync that with Surefire, so all your tasks will sync down to your Outlook calendar.
Your
Yes.
integration that you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Two-part question. So for the lead statuses, you basically just kind of bringing in contact type as lead status, correct? That's what that field is.
So yes, so how our business, how the back end of it is structured, absolutely. Because currently, although that is an update coming, right, David? Currently, there's only a few some limitations on how you can filter out each view. So yes, I do have the business rule set up so that if lead status equals X, it changes the contact type to mirror the lead status, and then it deploys the content so that we can filter each tab per the contact type. But in the next iteration that they're releasing, they're going to allow us to actually filter out by custom fields, which would be the lead status, so you won't have to change the contact type.
So for you, lead status is a custom field.
Yes,
Okay.
lead status is a custom field, yeah.
And then so second part to that question is, I know you kind of explained on your workflow as far as those contact attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are automated. So if somebody were to respond on one of those workflows, is it then on the loan officer's responsibility to change them from one status to the next?
It is to an extent. Now, granted, these are the workflow, the lead process. You want to pull it back up, Dave? Scroll up. All of the contact attempts are not workflows. It's a single deployment from the business rule. So you're never going to be in a situation where, oh, they called you back and I'm worried that they're still running through this workflow. It's not a workflow. It's just a one-time submission. Now, as soon as you change the status, you just launch the next one-time business rule. Nothing else happens. Unless you do something along the lines of the nurture, which if you scroll to the right, the nurture is one of the few ones that I personally do like to put on a workflow, but then I just make sure that my business rule is set up to where if this lead status ever changes, it removes them from any workflows. And that, yeah, figures out that problem.
So you did a very good job explaining this, and yours seemed very customized and perfect, right? Who can help us set that up?
Yeah, I can take that question. So I've seen what NFM has done with our system, and it's very sophisticated, and that's the whole reason I invited Briana to come speak. Like, I have never seen anyone use our system that we built this way, and so it's really cool. So what they have done versus what we're showing here, that they've taken it to a whole new level. That's where NFM is adding their value. But if you want to set up something similar to what you're seeing today, that's something we're happy to help you with. We're here all week. I don't know if you are. We have people up in we have a suite where you can come up, bring your laptop. We'll help you build out these workflows while we're here in real time.
Okay, great, thank you. And then my second question is, let's say tomorrow I get out for business and I decide I'm gonna go do something else. What happens to all that data?
It's just, well, so basically that's going to be up to the branch that you're leaving. So for example, say you have a branch manager who loses an LO. All of those leads, we would typically recommend it be reassigned to different LOs so that they can take over the process. You don't lose any of the data or the history, but you just change the owner. We could even possibly do a workflow to give them an update. Now, would your goal be to remove those leads from the system and take them with you?
Yeah.
That would be up to your compliance team to decide whether or not that's something they're okay with doing. I definitely know that's had that question a few times before, and it's just going to have to be up to your own compliance team
Yeah,
to decide.
and Surefire in that scenario has to remain agnostic. Basically, whoever our contract with is with, and whoever's paying our bill,
Yeah.
we have to assume they own the data. But if your branch or your lender gives us permission to transfer the data, we happily provide it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is pertaining to the referral source. So
Mhm.
I love this build out, but a challenge that I run into is that should a lead automatically come in from like a electronic or a digital source, assigning that referral source has to happen manually within Surefire, does it not?
It does have to happen manually, and of course the reason why is because if you rely on your lead to fill in their referral information, you're gonna end up with a John Smith
Yeah.
and a John D. Smith and a Jonathan Smith,
course.
and then your reporting is completely ruined. So you definitely do have to have them added. Now, you can, the good thing to think about is say you missed the first one because it came in automatically. That sucks, you missed that first referral source update, you can decide to update them manually, or hopefully they trust you that you were fine and contacted them. But as soon as you get a new lead in the system, there should not be much time before you call them. And when you call them, you're looking at the lead, you should be assigning the referral source. So, for example, I've got hot leads in front of me. I know that I'm gonna call this person. I'm gonna go ahead and open them up. I know who the referral source is. I'll add it, save, and then give them a call and disposition them to the next status. And if it's a contact attempt, they've got an update. So maybe they didn't get the first one, but they'll definitely get the second one as long as you're paying attention and making sure. We actually have a few groups that have chosen to give themselves task follow-up to assign the referred by, because a lot of times they forget.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to remind them, hey, you need to assign this before you do anything else.
Yeah, and to chime in there without giving away too much of NFM's secret sauce, I think one of the things that, hopefully you don't mind me sharing this, they've created a custom field, so the forms that people are filling out to get them into Surefire, they have a field that says, okay, who's your realtor? And they can type in a name, it's just a one-line string field. But that way, it gives the loan officer a visual, okay, this was Susie Smith, I know who that is, I can select that person for my job.
Yeah, that does help a lot.
So they're not
having that
flying
text
blind.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if I was missing something where like the referral source could automatically be assigned.
No, yeah, typically, unfortunately, at this time, it's not. And of course, the reasoning that, I wouldn't even say at this time, it's just
Yeah.
not, because you can't, there's no way to rely on them to put in the right information without duplicating 1,000 realtors. Yeah.
Is there any way on this system right here to add an automated voicemail?
I think that's information that's happening in the other room.
That was the other breakout session happening in the other room. We can't send automated voicemails, and we chose to do that intentionally because it's a relatively highly regulated thing. It's actually illegal in the state of Florida. We anticipate that's going to become more and more illegal. I'm sure everyone in this room is getting the robot dials just like I am. So there's a lot of attention getting placed on that right now with legislation. So we chose not to go that route, but we are rolling out a module that allows you to write up scripts on what you would say in a phone call and have pre-recorded voicemails you can leave if you call and they don't answer. But you have to still take action as a loan officer to do that versus it happening automatically behind the scenes. And that's unfortunately a pretty big distinction.
Any other questions?